Hello, my name is Matthew Andrew Drake, and odds are if you're watching this video, you're not one of my usual subscribers, or you probably are, you already know me if you're watching it, but last time I did a video about Vincent Gallo, it got, I don't know, 6 times as many views as usual, which is not the point of why I'm doing this. The point of why I'm doing this is Buffalo 66 is my favorite movie of all time. I saw it, I was 18, I'm 36 now, and so I know there's plenty of videos online, there's plenty of articles and everything, but I mean, I'm passionate about the movie, and so I figured why not give my opinion and in-depth discussion about it. This has nothing to do with my previous personal relationship with Vincent Gallo, the working relationship, the whatever it was, friendship or something that we had. If you want to know about that, you can go to my previous video that was about Vincent Gallo and what our history. But it's not about that. I have also grown since then. That was about a year ago, and I have a kind of a different outlook on that now. But that's neither here nor there. We're not going to get too much into that. I might mention some things, but try to keep it brief. So basically, Buffalo 66, my favorite movie of all time. I saw it when I was 18. Like I said, I'm 36 years old, so half of my life ago. 18, very formative years, like those years where you're really discovering stuff. And I had a friend named Dan Abbey that he knew, like, this guy showed me so many good things, like music and movies and stuff. And I learned a lot from Dan, and we hung out, and he's a really cool guy. He lives in I believe Japan now or something. But anyway, so Dan, one day he's talking to me. Have you heard of Buffalo 66? I'm like, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. And I ended up watching the movie. I can't remember if we watched it together or what happened if he came over. Back then we were total potheads. We were always about smoking weed, which I'm actually completely sober now. But yeah, we watched the movie, and I just remember, like, just being blown away. Like, what the fuck? This movie is, there's nothing like it. If you know Buffalo 66, you're probably watching this. If not, then I suggest you watch it. I've probably seen this movie over 100 times. I mean, I bet on it. But basically, this movie is, like, stuck with me through my entire life. I mean, I have 66 tattooed on my arm. It's like, it's the definitive movie for me. And not for any particular reason other than that it's a great work of art, and that it's like, anyway, enough about that. We'll get into the movie. So Buffalo 66 came out, I believe it came out in 1998. Hope I have my facts straight. There's no script or anything. I'm not fact checking anything. I'm doing all this off of memory. I really don't care if I fuck something up. You can go ahead and leave it in the comments, or say something. It can be mean if you like. I don't care. I'm used to it now. I have enough subscribers, but I mean, it's not many, but Anyway, so yeah. So Buffalo 66, starts off Billy Brown, I believe age 7, and him with his dog Bingo, and the little picture and stuff. And that's, your first intro to the movie is this young boy, holding his dog, and Billy Brown, and so you don't know, who's this or what is this. And then you go, to Vincent Gallo, the character Billy Brown, which you find out later, is getting out of prison. I believe it's prison, maybe jail, but I don't think you do 5 years in jail. I don't know. I've never been to jail or prison, thank God. But anyway, so he gets out, he's wearing this outfit. It's all, like, super tight fit in these fucking red boots, and, like, I mean, it's 1998 or whatever. I mean, I guess the time period of this movie is, like, 96 or something. Anyway, he looks all hipstered out and shit. They let him out of prison. He's on the bench, recalling memories of being in jail and or prison. Stop correcting myself on that. But and he's cold, and he's thinking about his entire time, what he's done, staying there, and all of a sudden he's like he's got to pee, and so he goes back to the discharge gate, and he goes, excuse me, you guys have a bathroom? And the guy's like, this is a discharge unit, you can't come back in here. And he's like, the last bus into town's leaving right now, I suggest you catch it. And so he's like, kind of winces or whatever the word for it is. He's like, like whatever. He gets on the bus, and still you can tell he's going through a lot. I mean, he just got out. It's fucking shitty. He's got to pee. So gets off the bus, and instantly, he's trying to find a bathroom. He's going to all these different places. He goes to the bus station, the bathroom's closed. Asks the lady, she points to the same bathroom. He's like, the bathroom's closed, ma'am. And he tries to go behind a car. He tries to go in a cafe. Like, he's doing everything he can to take a piss, the poor guy. And I remember the first time watching this, like, cracking up, like, thinking it was the most hilarious thing ever. Like I said, I was also stoned. But I mean, the reason why I would think that it starts off that way, and he puts that in there and stuff, I mean, maybe it's a little comedic value, but I mean, I think it's also setting it up for you to understand, like, this guy's been through a lot. This guy's, like, really dealt with some rough shit. He's, like, getting out. He just wants to take a piss, and he can't even fucking do that. So, like, kind of sets up his attitude and his demeanor for the first part of the movie. Then he goes into a dance studio where people are doing tap dancing, and he walks to the bathroom, and you see Christina Ricci for the first time, Christina Ricci is an attractive woman, but in this movie she's very attractive. Which we're not going to get into the whole Vincent Gallo and how he treated her during the filming, or what, her weight or this or that. I don't really give a fuck. I love the movie. The movie's perfect. It was what it was, and that's it for me. We don't need to get into all this PC, woke 2022 shit, which it's not 2022. It's been going on for a long time, but it's just not my place, and I'd really it's not. That's not what this is about. So enough of that. So, he goes in there, and he tries to go to the bathroom, and speaking about not PC woke stuff, he goes to the bathroom, and there's a guy next to him that's, I wouldn't say clearly gay, but gay, and he's like, get your face out of my pants, and the guy's like, but it's so big, and then he freaks out, and he's like, what'd you say, you fucking faggot, you fucking get the fuck out of the bathroom. And then after all that, him waiting to pee for so long, he's like, I can't piss, that fucking faggot. He's like angry, and I mean, like, this is 1998, like, shit was it. I still find it funny in the context of the movie. I'm not going around calling people faggots. I'm not like, it's not funny to call people, slurs, for their sexuality, their gender, their race, anything like that. Not promoting that. But in the context of the movie, a work of art, it sets up the next scene, which Christina Ricci walks by him to go to the bathroom, and she's like, watch your mouth. And he's like, what? He's like, why don't you watch your mouth, smartass? And then instantly asks her for a quarter, and she gives him the quarter for the phone. He needs to use the pay phone. And so this just sets up, he's still so angry, and he's just so dealing with so much shit, and he's got to call his parents and lie to them about where he's been, which he's been, well, we'll get into that later. But he gets on the phone. She's in the bathroom down the hall, so she could hear his whole conversation. And, he's lying to his parents about where he's been. He's saying, he's with his wife. They're in a fancy hotel, and that his wife's sick, so she can't come visit, but he wants to come visit and see them and see the old house. And in the meantime, she's listening the whole thing. And so he ends the phone call with, the mom is insistent that he bring the wife. And so he's like, fine, you want me to wake her up? I'll wake her up. And so Christina Ricci walks out of the bathroom, and he's like, I can't remember. He's like, excuse me, miss. And he just grabs her and fucking muffles her mouth and fucking drags her down the stairs, which I mean, this movie is like I said, it's my favorite movie of all time, and it's a great test of patience. It's a great test of somebody that can look outside the box, have patience, think a little bit, and go like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I mean, I love watching this movie with people. I love looking at the look on their face and the way they react because they're going, "This your favorite movie? Like, this is your favorite movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just watch the fucking movie. Just watch the fucking movie." And so, he takes her out to the back to her car and has her get in and everything. And then her car is pretty dirty, which I can relate. I'm a very clean person. I would never grab somebody and make them wipe their car down or anything. I would never even, at this point, mention to a girl that she should clean her car. Maybe I'd make a little joke or something and maybe plant a seed and hope that it sprouts. But I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. So yeah, he makes her get out of the car and fucking wipe the windshield off, and he's like, is this the way your house is, dirty like this car? He's like, you see how nice the car is when it's clean? Which, I mean, it's true. I mean, I need to wash my car. Hey, some of us get lazy sometimes. It's all good. Maybe Christina Ricci was going through a rough time, or maybe Layla was going through a rough time before this. She didn't have time. She was suffering from hardcore depression, which would make sense for the rest of the movie why she goes along with this shit. But you don't get the backstory, so fill in the blanks yourself. But anyway, he gets in the car and he realizes he can't get the car in gear. It's a shifter car. He cannot drive a shifter car, and she's kind of laughing, kind of smiling, and you think that's funny. You know why I can't drive a shifter car? Because my cars shift themselves. I drive luxury cars. You ever hear of Cadillac, Eldorado? And so yeah, it's just, I mean, there's like these moments where it's this pain and this anger and this just stress or this anxiety it comes off as funny, and I think there's a lot of people that watch it and they don't think it's funny at all, and different strokes for different folks and shit, and I understand, like, I don't expect everybody to like it, but I said this in my last video and I'll say it again. This might be weird, or somebody might think this is fucking crazy or something, but like, I mean, if I have a good friend, like, I want them to watch the movie and I want them to understand stuff. But if I'm dating a girl, like, that's the first movie, like, on my choice, like, she might pick a movie, we might watch that first, or I might pick a movie, we might watch something, it's going to be Buffalo 66. And for me, it's like a test. It's like, if this girl can get through this movie and understand, pay attention, like, get it, like, and then know me, and then it's like, that's a great start for me. And that's totally weird, I know, like, it's like a test for me. It's like, and I mean, I honestly can't tell you, I mean, I can't remember anybody that hasn't passed the test, because I mean, what kind of fucking girl is going to be dating me, and I'm going to tell you, this is my favorite movie, I got it tattooed on my arm, means a lot to me. What kind of girl's going to watch that and go, fucking movie sucked? Like, I mean, so some get it more than others. I mean, some, like, it's probably one of their favorite movies now. But anyway, enough about me. Let's get back to the movie. Oh god. Anyway, sorry, just a lot of memories coming back. So yeah, they get in the car and they drive off. He tells her to go drive here, whatever. And then he's like, pull over. And he's like, stay there, do not move, keep your hands on the dashboard or whatever. And he goes and runs behind a tree and finally gets to pee. And he's just like so relieved, like, whew. And he turns around and she's like looking. He goes, who told you to look? It's just like all these little moments. Like, I don't understand, like, how he fucking came up with all this shit. Like, his mind is like, fucking flies, man. His mind is so fucking, like, amazing, like, and intricate. Like, I wish I could fucking get in his mind and just, like, walk around for a day and just, like, understand the guy. Because he's fucking... I don't know what the word for it is, like an enigma, like a fucking, I don't know what the word for it is. He's just so different, you know? And that's like, even though he's done like controversial things and said controversial things, like I don't care. I separate like the political views or the if he's considered a misogynist or whatever, like it doesn't concern me. Like I'm not dating this guy. I'm not fucking hanging out with him every day, you know? Like I said, I did end up working with him a bit with music. Didn't matter. We both had our own faults, and we're both fucking weirdos. I'm not the perfect guy. I'm clearly not the perfect guy, uh, and neither is he. But I think he's great. At least his art. I don't know. Whatever. So we're getting too off track here. Let's get back to the fucking movie. So yeah, so he gets back in the car and he's like, "Who told you to look?" You know, and finally he's like breathing. He's like, "Whew, I'm sorry if I pulled your hair." You know, like, and he's asking her name and stuff, and he's telling her like, we got to go to my parents' house. You got to pretend to be my wife because I've lied to my parents. I was locked up. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything. And she's very like, attentive and like curious, you can tell. But I mean, this situation is just so fucking ridiculous and fucked up. Like, I would say only in a movie, but like, who knows, like, it's so far-fetched, but it's so close to what reality could be in some situation that it's not. It's just like one of those like 1 in a million, 1 in fucking 10 million experiences that somebody could have. But it's, yeah. So, he tells her name's going to be Wendy Balsam now. Not Layla. He asks her name. She's like, Layla. He's like, no, that's no good. You're going to go by Wendy Balsam. And so, yeah, he's like, all right, let's go, and they drive to the parents' house. He gets there, the mom's clearly yelling at the TV, which is over a Buffalo Bills game. The movie's Buffalo 66. The character is born in 66. I believe Vincent Gallo'S also born in 66. And so this is, what do you call it? It's like a semi-autobiographical film in a way. Obviously, he never kidnapped anybody. He never went to prison shit. But, like, the family, the mom and the dad are based off his own parents. I believe it was filmed in his childhood home, the house scene. And so, I guess I should also say that this entire movie was filmed on this, like, film stock that was, at the time was vintage. Now is, like, fucking unbelievable. Like, it's so expensive. Like, it wouldn't even make sense for somebody to try to film on this type of stock or whatever in this manner. I'm not a film student. I've never done anything. This is just based off stuff I've read. And so, yeah, I'm just giving, a little bit of information that I've absorbed. So yeah, they get there and they walk up to the steps, and he's really, you can tell he's getting really nervous or anxious, and he's like kind of shaking, rocking back and forth. And he's like, "Can you please hold me?" And she puts her arm around him, and he's like, "Don't touch me." And I mean, there's so many points in this movie where you can tell this is like a person that's been through some shit, and like he's really feeling like so much stress and anger and everything, and he just like he wants to be loved, like he wants somebody to understand him, but he's just so conflicted and messed up in his head that he just doesn't know how to deal with everyday life. And that's something I can identify with, especially somebody who, I say was a drug addict, but I mean I've I'm not sober for that long or anything, which I'm sure Vincent Gallo would frown on that because he hates drugs and drug users, but whatever, it's fine. We all have our own story and we all go through our own things. So anyway, they go in the house, and the dad answers the door, and he opens the door and he sees him, and he's like, "Jan, it's your son." And so he doesn't want anything to do with Billy. And then mom comes up and she goes, "Oh, honey, it's Billy." Like, he didn't fucking recognize his son. She's so aloof. This mom character is just so fucking absent-minded. Like, all she cares about is football and in football. And she's got, Buffalo Bills jacket on and everything. and I guess I should say the parents are played by Ben Gazzara and Angelica Houston, or Huston, or however the fuck you say it. I think it's Houston. Um, and so they go in the house, and that's why I guess I brought up the, I don't know if it's filmography or cinematography or whatever it is. It's just the way this movie's filmed. I mean, there's nothing like it. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some vintage stuff or whatever that I haven't seen that's similar, but just the colors, the angles, the like way he chose to shoot things, because like the dinner table scene, you get each person's perspective. So you get a camera angle from the mom's perspective, a camera angle from Layla's perspective, camera angle from Billy's perspective, and the dad's perspective, and it goes around the table 4 ways, and you see each one. And it's just like shit that he did was just so fucking amazing. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm the only person that feels this way. I mean, I think there's other people that feel very passionate about this movie, and that's why I'm recording this. Also, because like I said, I got all the time in my hands. I don't have shit to do. Whatever. And this is not like some fucking attempt at like getting views or something. I know I said the other Vincent Gallo video got more views than usual. This is not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because it's my favorite movie of all time, and I just, well, I was like, fuck it, let's talk about it. Or I'll talk about it. You can't respond. Sorry. Or you can respond in the comments after the fact. That's the beauty of YouTube, I guess. And then I could delete them. But I mean, I'm going to try not to do that unless somebody's just like totally mean or something. Like, yeah, you're fucking ugly. Like, I might even leave that. It's kind of funny. But, so yeah. They get there, and the mom is, the parents are clearly more interested in Layla as opposed to Billy. Like, they don't give a shit. And the dad's all like fucking creepy and like hugging her like, my new daughter. And then, you know, the mom is offering Billy, you know, soda, pop. And he goes, you know, I don't like pop. The bubbles bother my stomach. She's offering him chocolate donuts. He's like, you don't remember the time when I was a kid? He gave me chocolate and my face swelled up. And, you know, the mom just doesn't fucking think or care about, you know, her own son. And I mean, you don't hear about any siblings in the movie. And, you know, I'm pretty sure he's an only child, which I'm an only child. I can't identify to the parent dynamic too much. My mom was very loving and caring. My father was, you know, when I was younger, like got angry at me a lot, and I felt like, you know, as a kid growing up, like I was always a failure and never good enough for him. So I mean, there's certain things I can identify with, but the overall dynamic, no, not at all. And so yeah, there's they have dinner, and then Layla says on the way there, I hope your parents are, I hope they don't eat meat because I'm a vegetarian or something like that. And he's just like, whatever. And so then they serve the dinner, and it's well, I'm skipping a part. Sorry. There's a point where she's like, oh, do you have any pictures of Billy when he's a child? And then the mom's like, oh, honey, go get the Billy picture. And there's one fucking picture of him. He's got to go to the room and find the one picture of his son. Like, it's just, you know, Billy's there the whole time, just like, there's one scene where he's like this and his dad's like this, and you could tell it's just this tension in the house that's just, you know, they're just used to. It's just everyday life for them, and that's how people go through life with their families, and they get used to them. You know, some people, they just deal with it for life, and they just accept it, and they keep, you know, you establish healthy boundaries or whatever. Other people are super close to their parents their whole life, despite the dynamic, whether it's healthy or unhealthy, because that's just like motherfucking fucking leaf blower. I swear to God, if that motherfucker comes over here, I'm gonna tell him I'm doing a video on Buffalo 66, my favorite movie, dude. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so got off track there. The Billy picture, yeah, family dynamics, and other people completely cut their family out, you know, and they don't want to deal with it anymore. It's whatever, you know, is healthy for each person. I don't really have, like I said, this is not about my opinions on fucking life or fucking family dynamics. Anyway, it's just, it's a huge part of the movie, and so it's interesting. And so then the father's talking about how he used to sing in clubs, that like Sinatra played in. You could tell, I mean, as a musician, hearing somebody talk like the way he talks, you can tell he was like I think it was a League of Their Own, or maybe it was something else, where the guy's like, "You're not even a has-been, you're a never was," and you can tell the dad probably wasn't even a has-been, he was just a never was. He's like, "Yeah, I got some tapes or whatever," and goes in the room and puts on a record that's I think it's Nelson Riddle. Yeah, it's Nelson Riddle, because he said he did some arrangements for Frank that Frank didn't sing on. And then there's a musical piece where he sings "Fools Rush In." It's clearly not his voice. I can't tell. That's one thing I don't know. Like, if in that scene, if it's supposed to be he's lip syncing and she's just like playing along with it, or if it's supposed to be like he's singing and he sounds that good and she's like actually enamored by it. I don't know. But regardless, Ben Gazzara is lip syncing. It's not him singing, and I don't even know if it's Frank Sinatra or who the fuck it is. God, I really, I should have fact checked that one, but whatever. That's not the point of this shit. And so, in the meantime, Billy's, looking at the picture. Oh, I should have mentioned there was one part where she looks at the picture. She goes, "Oh, Layla's like, oh, who's the cute? What was that cute dog or whatever?" And the dad's like, "Oh yeah, Bingo was his name." And you can tell Billy's like really distraught about something. And then it goes to a scene where Billy's a little kid and the father comes out with the dog, and he's like, "Didn't I tell you what happened if this dog peed in the house one more time? What I'd fucking do?" And then Billy's like, "No, Daddy, please." And then you hear the dog like squeal, and it's like, damn, bro, he fucking choked the dog, like killed the dog, dude, or broke its neck, or it's fucking crazy. And so there's just a lot of build-up. See, it's a lot of backstory that you start to understand what this guy's been through, and maybe the reason that he is like he is. I'm not saying because of anybody's childhood or going to prison or anything they should go kidnap a girl and force her to go to their parents' house to pretend to be their wife, but I'm saying the movie starts to unravel, and it's a slow burn, I guess, as Netflix would say, or or whatever. Anyway, god damn fucking gnats, dude. That's what I get for sitting by the shrubbery. Um anyway, wow, this one really likes me. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so motherfucker. Maybe I should go inside. Anyway, all right. Yeah, we're going inside. This shit's too loud. It's getting too loud. He's getting too close. Yeah, like I'm like looking over there, like scorned, like a mad dad. Like, this motherfucker should have known I was doing my video. But whatever. We'll go inside. Take a little intermission. Go for a pee break if you've been holding it like fucking Vincent Gallo'S at the start of Buffalo 66. I don't know. Is this a good spot? I don't think anybody's around, so I think it is a good spot. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I think that's a good spot. I think everybody's gone. Which, by the way, if you don't know me, I totally live in a sober living, so I live with a bunch of fucking dudes in a fucking house. And, no shame, I'm not embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed to say it. I don't give a fuck. It's a fucking great place. Alright, I almost fucked that up. I almost fucked the whole video up. Okay, I can still hear that fucking leaf blower, though. Anyway, alright, so, yeah, he wrings the dog's neck. Anyway, when Layla goes to the room with the father to hear him, sing, quote unquote, I'm trying to remember if, no, he goes to the room and that's where he calls his friend Goon, which you first meet, God, I wish I remembered his name, like his real name. He's like in fucking Pineapple Express. He's one of the two henchmen, not Craig Robinson. He's the other guy. And I remember seeing Pineapple Express. I'm like, I know this fucking guy from somewhere. I'm like, that's fucking Goon. Holy shit. But yeah. Anyway, Goon, 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 goon. That's all you'll ever be is goon, because you're ugly and you're a retard. Anyway, we'll get to that. So he calls Goon, and you know, he's asking him, maybe I'm skipping. I guess I'm skipping a part because, ooh, man, I feel like I know this movie like the fucking back of my hand. Um, Anyway, they go and serve dinner, and it's tripe, which is the intestines of a pig or a cow or something. And uh, Billy says to Layla, he goes, "Oh, didn't you say that was your favorite food?" He's like, "Give her more, Ma. I think she's going to eat a lot." And flashback to when she said she was vegetarian, so it's pretty fucked up. Not very nice. Um, and so I think, yeah, she eats it, man. What a soldier, huh? Fucking Layla. If only we could all find girls like Layla out there. No, I'm just kidding. It's not reality. Um, Make a Craigslist posting. I don't think they have personals anymore. It'd be like, searching for my Layla from Buffalo 66. But, no. Scour the internet looking for this girl. Now, so they're eating dinner and shit, and then the mom's like all into this game that's on the TV, and clearly it's a recording because she's pressing fast forward and stuff. And then Scott Woods goes to kick the longest field goal on grass or something like that to win the game, and he misses it, and the mom's like, damn it. She's like, I haven't missed a game since the Bills won the Super Bowl, and I missed that game because that's the day I had Billy, and God, I wish I never had him. And it's like, oh fuck, like, you think this shit's fucked up? Like, this dude's going through all this shit. Now his mom's saying she wishes she never had him, like, because she fucking wished she saw the Bills win the Super Bowl. It's like so fucked up, man. And so there's also a point where they say the Billy picture, and she pulls out a photo album, and she's like, "Yeah, this is Jack Kemp, me with Jack Kemp. This is me with the this is me with O.J. Simpson. Here's me with the Buffalo Bills caterer." Like, she's showing her a picture of her with the Buffalo Bills caterer before she ever shows her a picture of fucking Billy. Like, oh God. So then Layla looks at Billy and she goes, "Did you like Buffalo?" And he's like, back to this thing. And then it gives you the flashback to where he's watching that game with his friend Goon, and they're watching that exact Woods trying to kick the longest field goal on grass, and he misses it. And Billy's going, "Damn it, I'm fucked." And he's wearing the same Buffalo jacket and beanie, like his mom was wearing. So, Vincent Gallo'S from Buffalo. Like, this is like a lot of this had to do with his childhood and the Buffalo. The names are changed. It was actually Scott Norwood, but the chronological events and the way Buffalo, went to the Super Bowl and shit, that's all historically accurate. It flashes, like I said, it's a flashback, misses a field goal. Billy's like, "I'm fucked." And the next thing you know, it shows you like Billy calling in a $10,000 bet to a bookie, and Goon's going, "Billy, you don't have that kind of money." And Billy's like, shut the fuck up, Goon." And then it goes to Billy sitting in a room, and you see Mickey Rourke, and he's like got his hair all slicked back and these shades on, and he's the bookie, and he's going, he's talking about how he's going, "Let me tell you a story about a guy who called in a $10,000 bet on Buffalo to win the Super Bowl, and he didn't even have the 10 large to cover the bet." And so he's like, "Turn the heat up in here, would you?" And so he says, "I got a friend that's going to prison for 5 years. He's innocent. It was a goddamn injustice." And so he's like, "You, the moron that called in the bet, you're going to take the fall for the guy," basically. And that's his only way out, 5 years. And so that's how he goes to prison. So you find out it's all unraveling, like this guy has been through some shit, and he fucking fucked himself. He shouldn't have called in a $10,000 bet. I don't even know if you can do that shit anymore. Like, call in a fucking bet without having money. That would be the dumbest shit in the world. Like, to get wrapped up with some guys like that, you better fucking take off. You better fucking go to Aruba or some shit. But anyway, he goes and does the prison term. I'm getting it mixed up where he goes and calls Goon, and he's, Goon's like, "Did you get the raisins I sent you?" Yeah, I guess because this is okay. We're still going in the right time frame. So yeah, he goes to prison, and then it shows Goon visiting Billy in prison, and Billy showing him, all these envelopes and stuff. Send this one in June. He's like, when June is? June comes after May and before July or something like that, And Goon's like, "Yeah, Billy, I'm not stupid." He's like, "You think I'm dumb, Billy?" And Billy's like, "Yeah, I think you're a little dumb sometimes." Because Goon is obviously like a little slow, and he's a lovable character. It's kind of sad, it's kind of fucked up, but it's also funny. There's a lot of shit in this movie that's fucked up, but it's funny, And it's like, you just gotta watch this movie with an open mind. And if you're watching this, like, you had to have already seen the movie, because there's no way in fucking hell you're listening to me describe the whole movie without seeing it. That would be asinine. Like, you better turn it off now and just go watch the movie and then come back. Or don't come back. I don't give a fuck. Clearly past the point of caring. Especially, I got a freaking inspirational poster behind me. Determination. The race is not always to the swift, but those who keep on running. There you go. Right? It's a little inspirational quote for your day. But anyway, so yeah, he's having him send all these envelopes to his parents so they don't know he's in jail and stuff. And then it goes back to the dinner table, and Billy's like, "I gotta go use the phone." And he calls Goon. He goes, "Hey, that kicker Scott Wood? Like, I'm trying to find him." And when he was in prison, he's like, "You know what? When I get out of here, I'm going to kill that motherfucker." He's like, "I heard here in prison that he missed that kick on purpose, that he got paid off to do it." He's like, "When I get out of here, I'm going to kill that fucker. And I don't care what happens to me. I'll kill myself too." Because he's like, "I'm not coming back here." And so then he calls Goon after he's back in the house. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to look for Scott Woods, And Goon's like, "Billy, you gonna do that bad thing you talked about?" He's like, No, I just want to go say hi to the guy." And he's like, "Come on, Billy, don't do bad things." And so Billy's like, I'm not. I just need the fucking number or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, he does the club where the girls take off their clothes." And he's like, "The guy opened a strip joint in Buffalo?" And he's like, yeah, Billy, "Did you get the raisins I sent you?" And he's like, "Yeah, can I just get the number? Can you get the phone book?" And he's like, "Billy, don't do bad things." And he's like, "Goon, like, you know what? You're fucking And he's like, "Billy, I gotta go. My mom's calling me." He's like, "You know what, Goon? That's your fucking problem. Your problem is your mother. You always fucking do what your mother says." And he's like, "Dude, Billy, don't call me Goon anymore." God, I can't escape fucking noise. Now the fridge fucking bring. Okay, stop. He's like, "Don't call me Goon anymore." He's like, "What? Don't call you Goon." He's like, "You always been Goon." He's like, "My new name is Rocky." He's like, "Oh, Rocky. Okay, Rocky. Can you get the fucking phone book?" And he's like, "No, Billy, don't do bad things." And so he's like, "You know what?" He's like, "Your name is Goon. You'll always be Goon." And he's Goon. "And you know why you're Goon? Because you're ugly and you're retarded." And he's like, "So fuck you." And he hangs up the phone. And it's funny because on the way out, the phone's in his parents' room. He like fixes his parents' bed. You can tell he's like, oh, he's got to fix it because, they're probably fucking anal about shit, which I grew up with a father that was very, very detail oriented, and that's probably why I'm a very clean person. That's probably why Billy is saying to Layla, "This is how you see how nice the car is when it's clean and shit." It's just shit. A lot of stuff about psychology. They say it stems from your childhood and everything. So, there's a lot of stuff about this movie that people can relate to that makes sense. Like I said, if people have patience, pay attention to this movie, listen. I don't understand why anybody would just write this movie off, but like I said, different strokes. So then it goes back, and in the meantime, when he was on the phone, Layla, which I left out a part that she's, he tells her when he goes there, like, "Just let me tell the story. I'll tell about how we met, And then she starts taking the lead and saying that Billy worked for the CIA. She was like a low-level typist, and that she'd been in love with him for so long. And he's like, just like, "Oh my God, like he could, the dad knows it's bullshit. The mom's all into it. I don't know if she's really buying it, but she's just hanging on every word. But when he goes to do the phone call, Layla's like, hey, I gotta tell you guys something, but you can't tell Billy. And they're like, oh, what is it, honey? And she's like, I'm pregnant. And the mom's like, oh, honey. And the father's like, come here, my new daughter. Oh, I love you. And like hugging her all creepy and shit. And so right when Billy gets back from the phone call, the mom goes, oh, honey, you're having a baby. Oh, man, like this family is so fucked up. And so then they're leaving. Layla and Billy are finally leaving, and the mom and dad are like all over Layla and saying bye to her. And they go to leave, and the mom just like waves to them. They don't even say bye to Billy, and it's just like, wow. So they leave. Billy's pissed off. He's like, you fucking lied to him. You said it's CIA bullshit. My dad didn't believe that for 1 second. Like it's fucked. Like this is messed up. And so I can't remember how he acquires the gun. I know he stops at a drugstore, but I just can't believe that a drugstore would sell a gun. I mean, it was a little tiny gun. I don't know, maybe back in the 90s, maybe you could buy guns at drugstores, whatever. Or maybe he had the gun in his pocket or something, or maybe he got it from the house. But anyway, they go and they're fucking driving. And he's like, what time is it? And I think I can't remember if I'm jumping the gun. Regardless, they go to the bowling alley, and he sees his old friend that runs the bowling alley, and he's like, yeah, Billy, like I kept your locker for you. And you see like a picture on the wall. As a kid, he won trophies, so he's like this bowling prodigy. Just so random. I think he probably loves bowling, which I actually love bowling as well. Not as great as he is, but I'm all right. I know that's the point. I know you watched 41 minutes into this to hear about my bowling skill. So they go bowling, and he's just bowling fucking strike after strike. He's like, oh yeah, Billy's back. And you can tell he's finally like starting to have some fun, and he's like, the kid is hot. And then she's like, oh, can I bowl one? And he's like, oh yeah, go for it, because what do you call it? The fucking something stuck with the bowling thing, the ball return. And he's like, to the guy, he's like, can you fix it? And she goes and bowls one, and she's like barely can even bowl, and he's like kind of like, oh my god. And she of course barely rolls the ball down the fucking middle of the lane and gets a strike, and he's like, ugh. And he's just over it at that point. And so when he goes to the locker, there's like a picture of a girl, in the locker. And that's when he goes to the payphone, and he calls the Scott Wood Exotic Dancers through 411 or something. And he's like, yeah, is Scott Wood in? And they're like, no, he doesn't come in till after 2 a.m. every night. Like, he'll be here between 2 and 6 a.m. or something like that. He's like, he doesn't come in any earlier? And they're like, nope, he never comes before 2 a.m. And so he's like, whatever. Hangs up the phone. He's like, all right, let's get out of here. And they're going and driving. And he's looking at the time. He's like, do you think like you'd want to go get like a room somewhere and lay down? And she's like, yeah, that would be fine. And then he's like, all right, like let's go get, I think she wants a hot chocolate or something, or he's hungry, wants a coffee, it's something like that. And then they're on their way there, and he goes, when I said I wanted to go somewhere and lay down with you, like I was only kidding. And she goes, well, that's too bad, because I was serious. And then he's back to the like like defeated look. And that's like kind of the first it's first like signs of his vulnerability with her, some of the first like signs. And so they go to the Denny's and get coffee and a hot chocolate or whatever, and they're sitting there, and all of a sudden here comes a chick with some dude walking in, and it's the fucking chick from the picture in his locker. And they sit down across from him, and it's like scuzzy chick, fucking I think it's Patricia Arquette or Rosanna Arquette. It's one of the two Arquette sisters, or there might be three, I don't fucking know. Fucking Diltricia Arquette, I don't know. Anyway, so they fucking sit down, these two creepy people are like all over each other, and all of a sudden the girl looks across, she goes, hey, didn't I go to school with you? And he's like, I don't know, he's like trying to hide his face. She's like, yeah, didn't you live down my block? You used to walk by my house every day. She's like, oh yeah, I remember you. You're Billy Brown. She's like, do you remember me, Wendy Balsam? And all of a sudden, Layla looks over. She goes, oh, I'm Wendy Balsam too. And he's just like fucking pissed. And so these people are like making out, and like the guy, he's like, oh, since you guys were childhood friends, you want to like come over and sit down? And it's like fucking stupid, these douchey ass people. And Billy's like, no, I'm fine, thank you. And they're sitting there, and Billy's like, I don't, let's get out of here. And she's like, but what about my hot chocolate? He's like, if you want to stay, you can stay. Like, I don't give a fuck. And she's like, they get into some little argument, and he's like, fine, and he's gonna leave, and she's like, fuck you, and he's like, fuck you, and he leaves, and he fucking, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. That's when he runs across the street and uses the payphone and calls Scott Wood's exotic dancer, and then he realizes he can't fucking get over there, and then he's like in the bathroom having like a mental breakdown, thinking about his life and shit. And so he fucking runs back across the street to the Denny's, and she's sitting at the bar drinking her hot chocolate, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry, like, do you want to go get that room? And so they finally go get a hotel room together, some cheap ass motel, like fucking $30 a night or whatever. And they go in the room, and he's like, the bedspread is fucking dirty. Like, don't even sit on this shit. Fucking fold it up or whatever. And he's like, I'm gonna go take a bath. Like when I was a kid, my father would only let me fill up the tub for like an inch of water, and that was all we were allowed. An inch of hot water, not just water. Inch of hot water, and that's all we were allowed to use. So he's like, I want to take a hot bath. And so she's like, all right, and he goes in there and he starts getting the tub ready. And then all of a sudden he's getting undressed. She's like, Billy, can I come in? I'm lonely. And he's like, no, like, you can't come in here. Like, I'm taking a bath. Like, I'm naked. And she's like, I won't look. Just let me come in there. Like, I'm lonely. And he's like, no, like, and so finally she convinces him to come in there. He's like, fine, you come in, but do not look at me. Do not look at me, or else you leave the bathroom. And so fucking he's in the bathtub, and he's just like sitting there like all like fucking got his knees up and fucking all awkward. And she's like, she's not looking, she's just sitting there, and she's like, you look so cute, you look just like a child. And he's like, I fucking told you not to look. What did I tell you? I told you you're gonna have to leave the bathroom. She's like, I didn't look, I'm just imagining. And he's like, just, ugh. And so finally she's like, can I get in, please? And he's like, no, I don't take baths with people. And so it's just like this goofy situation. Of course she fucking convinces him to fucking get in the bath with him. And then he's got his tank top on, and he's like just hunched over. And he's feeling like, can you get out? Like, you can tell he's very awkward and conflicted. I mean, he's got this beautiful girl fucking naked in the bath with him, so I don't see what the problem is, Billy. But clearly he's going through a lot. So they get out, and it's funny because, like, as she's getting out, the scene cuts right as she's about to get to that point where you see something. It's, like, so funny. All these, like, little intricacies of this movie. Like, I just love it so much. And so then they finally go back out and get dressed and stuff and get in the bed and lay down, and Billy's like curls up kind of in a fetal position with her, and she holds him, and that's kind of like one of the points in the movie where I feel like emotional, where I feel like it's like touching in a fucked up way. Like, there's so many times in my life where I've just been going through some shit, and like, like with masculinity and shit, and growing up, like I'm 36. I grew up like a little bit in the 80s and a lot through the 90s, and so there's like certain stuff back then. I mean, in high school, like, it was just, you were like expected. There's like this manly man shit, and it's like you like a girl to hold you, like you hold the girl, like you take care of the girl, and shit. And so that like vulnerability and that feeling like, man, I just want to be held, like that really gets to me every time. And so she holds him, and then they're kind of having this moment where they're looking at each other, but he's being very distant, and then they're like holding hands and not holding hands, and they finally kiss, and the score, the fucking I believe at that point it's Stan Getz music playing in the background, and it's just like so beautiful the way the music works with the scene, which I forgot to mention at the bowling alley. There's like a tap dance scene, which Christina Ricci totally fucking butchered. Not even believable for a second that she's tap dancing, but whatever. That's not the point. And King Crimson's Moonchild plays in the background. It's like this spotlight on her. Just fucking amazing. And I remember hearing or reading somewhere that a lot of the movie's budget he spent on licensing these songs from King Crimson, Yes, Stan Getz, Nelson Riddle, and all this stuff. And then he did like the other half of the soundtrack himself, which I'm not sure if it was by choice or by budgetary reasons. Yeah, so you get back to the scene, and they fall asleep together in the bed, and it's like all beautiful and sweet, and you can tell like the color hues throughout the movie, like it's very bright in that moment. It's like, wow, and the way the symphonic background music, the Stan Getz music, the way it resolves in the end when he wakes up and he goes away from her, and you could see he's getting his gun and putting it in, getting in his jacket and getting ready to leave. It kind of resolves in this like dark tone. It was a perfect piece for him to pick for the scene. And just as he's about to walk out the door, she fucking, what do you call it? Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? She's like, Billy, where are you going? And it's like, he's like, oh, I'm just going to get a coffee, She's like, oh, can you get me a hot chocolate? He's like, yeah, sure. You want hot chocolate? And she's like, yeah. And so he goes, all right, yeah, I'll be right back. And she's like, Billy, are you coming back? And he's like, yeah, I'm coming back. I'll get you a hot chocolate. And she's like, well, she's like, Billy, when I said I thought you were like the sweetest guy in the world and like the most handsome at the parents' house, she's like, I really meant it. And he's just like hanging his head. He doesn't know what to say. And he's like, goes to leave. And right as he leaves the door, right before he closes the door, she says, and I love you. And it's like, damn, it's like, it's so unrealistic and so crazy. But it's just like, I think that's one of the things that makes me like drawn to that movie so much, is because like throughout my life and all my relationships, like I'm not saying like I'm Mr. like player, like cool guy, or like I've dated so many girls, but I've dated a good amount of girls. And it's like, God, I would just fucking love that, to have somebody like accept me for all my flaws and just like, be cool with like, and I'm not saying like, oh, I want to go beat somebody and be like, I mean, this doesn't happen in the movie. It's not, kidnaps her, that's, I'm not saying I want to kidnap anybody. It's just the flaws that I have in my life. Like, I would love to meet somebody like that is just like, loves me no matter what. And it's just like, I don't know, I don't want to say like waiting on me or waiting for me or anything like that, but just so sweet and so like accepting and understanding, which it's not reality, especially this day and age. It's so fucked up, and like everybody's got their guard up in some way or another. It's like, let's not even get into that. Okay, we got off track. So he leaves, and he happens to be staying across the street at the motel from Scott Wood's Exotic Dancers. So he goes in the club, and before he goes in the club, he calls Goon, gives him his locker combination for the bowling alley, and says, I want you to have all my things. And Goon's like, Billy, don't do bad things. He's like, I'm fine. I just want you to have this stuff. And he's like almost crying. And so he goes in the club, and Heart of the Sunrise by Yes is playing, which fucking top 10 song of all time for me. I discovered it through this movie, and I mean, it's just such a killer song, dude. It's like fucking 12 minutes long. It goes like so many different places. The fucking musicianship, like the skill, like, oh, dude, this song is killer. And I believe that Vincent Gallo was Chris Squire, the bass player of Yes's son's godfather or something like that. They definitely had a connection. They had a friendship. Chris Squire passed away a few years ago. I actually had tickets to see Hal Squire and White, the guitarist, drummer, and bass player of Yes, at the Warfield in 2007 in San Francisco, and then I had backstage passes and got canceled. Anyway, So he goes in the club, and, there's all these topless dancers, like some kind of scuzzy looking chicks, some kind of good looking chicks, all these scuzzy dudes at the bar, like with dollar bills, drinking and shit. And he walks through, and it's like slow mo, and he's looking around the club. He goes up to the bartender, which is a topless chick, and you can tell he says Scott Woods, like you can't hear him, but you can tell what and she points over, and she's got like this grin with this fucking gap in her teeth, and it's just the perfect person. Like the casting, like everything about this movie, the casting, the filmography, the soundtrack, the acting, writing, directing, like everything is fucking. Ooh, oh, whoops, ooh, who says ooh? Ooh. Anyway, it's perfect. I love it. And so he looks over and he sees there's fucking Scott Woods, who's now a big fat guy in just a bow tie with no shirt and fucking pants on. And he's got like 3 chicks, like, naked chicks on the side of him. And he's drinking shots. And so Vincent Gallo goes up to him, and he's like 5 feet away. And then they look at each other, and all of a sudden he pulls out the gun and boom, shoots Scott Wood right in the head. And there's just these 360 scenes that he did, that you see the like blood spatter like coming out of the back of the head, and he goes full 360 around, and then all of a sudden he fucking pulls the gun to his head and boom, just fucking blows his brains out. Another 360 scene, you see the blood coming, and it's like still, like the blood, it's not like slow-mo anymore, it's a still 360 scene. I was like, damn, I wish I was into fucking like film and like directing or fucking filmography. I don't even know what the right terms are, but I wish I was like knew how he did this and could like learn or like recreate it or like do like this is like in depth or whatever. But I'm just like explaining the movie and then having little bullet points about it because I got nothing better to do. Anyway, and so yeah, he fucking kills himself and boom, that's it. Fucking both of them are dead, and then you see the parents. They're at the gravestone, and the mom's listening to the Bills on the radio, and the dad's like, Jan, let's go home, I'm getting cold. And it's funny because the gravestone next to his, it says Drake on it, and that's my last name. And so it's just a funny little fact. No, just Vincent Gallo knew before he met me, he knew that Drake, like, I should be right buried next to him. No. Then all of a sudden it comes back, and there's a lot of scenes, there's a few scenes throughout the movie that it'll be this like square that goes like down, and it'll be back into the current, the present tense, or the square will come out and then it's like past tense. Or so in this scene you find out it was like almost like it wasn't a dream sequence, but it was his imagination of what he wanted to do. So he didn't actually do it. And so he's standing there about to pull the gun out, and then Scott Woods raises a shot glass and takes a shot, and Billy's just like, fuck this, man, and just walks out of the place. And he's like standing there, and you can tell he's all like aware and awake and like just feeling something, and he takes the gun and just throws it, and he fucking gets back on the phone, and he goes, hey, I take it, he calls Goon, he's like, I take everything back. You can't have all my stuff. Like, don't touch my locker. And he's like, I met a girl, and she loves me. And, he's like, I saw Scott Woods tonight. He's a cool guy or whatever. And he's just totally over it. And so then he goes to the donut shop or the cookie coffee shop or whatever. And he's getting a coffee and a hot chocolate. And then he sees in the cookie display a heart-shaped cookie. And he's like, oh, who made the heart cookie? And the guy working there is like, I don't know, some romantic. And he's like, I like that. Let me get a heart cookie. And then the one guy sitting over there, he's like, you got a girlfriend? And the guy's like, yeah. He's like, let me get a heart cookie for him too. And then when he pays for it, he's like, and here's a few extra bucks, just, because. And the guy's like, okay. And he goes back, and fucking final scene, Sweetness by Yes is playing, another perfect song choice, and they're holding each other in bed, like perfect embrace, in love, the end, credits roll, fucking best movie of all time. I love that movie so much. It means so much to me, and it's so symbolic of so many things that so many people go through, so many men go through, where Vincent Gallo, like I said, has been accused of like toxic masculinity or misogyny, but I think deep down inside he's just a troubled soul that's been misunderstood and wants to be loved. The dude's never been fucking married. I'm sure he can't find anybody that wants to marry him. Like, I don't know if anybody ever bought his sperm or anything like that. That's not the point of this video. point of this video was to just talk about Buffalo 66 in depth, and we're about to hit 1 hour, so this is the longest video I've ever done. If you made it this far, if you listened to everything, thanks. You know, you probably already knew most of the stuff I was talking about. I think I didn't leave anything out. I think I got through all the scenes, but that's my favorite movie, and I love it. I'm gonna love it for life. Yeah, if you want to go back and watch the video of my relationship with Vincent Gallo and stuff that we did together or whatever, not romantic relationship. He's he walked in the bathroom and I was peeing next to him and I was like, he's so big, and he was like, hey, you want to date me? No. But anyway, if you haven't seen it and you watch this whole thing, you just fucking ruined the movie for yourself. But you definitely need to go watch it. And like I said, I've seen it over 100 times. I love it. Everything's perfect about it. And that's it. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. All right, have a great day.